Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Anaya and I'm a foundation level student. So today I will ask some questions. I'm going to talk with Maya on the topic of um, best remote jobs for students. So let's get started. So hi Maya, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm ready when you are. What's on your mind regarding remote jobs for students?
Okay, so my first question from you is that why should students consider remote jobs?
The biggest draw is definitely the flexibility. Being able to fit work around a class schedule or a late night study session is a huge win. Plus, it lets students gain professional experience without the stress of a commute, which means more time for actually, being a student. Do you think most students are looking for the money or more for the experience?
So my next question from you is that can school students do remote jobs?
Absolutely, they can, though it usually looks a bit different than a typical 9 to 5. For school students, the key is finding roles that are project based or have very flexible hours so their education stays the priority. A lot of students start as younger kids online. These kinds of roles allow them to build a portfolio and learn how to manage their time before they even hit college. Of course, the biggest hurdle is often the legal side, depending on where they live. There are usually labor laws and age requirements that parents and employers have to navigate together. It's less about having a corporate title and more about using a skill they're already good at to earn some extra money. I've heard that starting early like this can actually make them way more confident when they eventually enter the professional world because they've already dealt with clients and deadlines. Does that sound like something most students in your area are trying to do?
Okay, so my next question from you is that what skills are needed for remote jobs?
When you're working from home, the skill set shifts a bit because you don't have a boss looking over your shoulder every 5 minutes. First and foremost, you need strong self discipline and time management. It's incredibly easy to get distracted by a snack in the kitchen or a YouTube rabbit hole. So, being able to set a schedule and actually stick to it is what separates the pros from the people who struggle. Then there's communication. Since you aren't chatting by the water cooler, you have to be very intentional. That means writing clear, concise emails and knowing how to ask the right questions over a chat app so projects don't stall. Technical literacy is another big one. You don't necessarily need to be a coder, but you do need to be comfortable with digital tools, whether it's managing files in the cloud, navigating project management software like Trello or Asana, or just troubleshooting your own Wi Fi when it decides to act up. Being tech savvy is basically a requirement. And finally, there's problem solving in a remote setting. You can't always just lean over and ask a coworker for help. So there's a real premium on being able to research a solution independently before reaching out. It's a bit of a mental shift from the classroom where the structure is given to you to a job where you have to create that structure yourself. Are there any of those skills that feel more intimidating than others?
So my next question from you is that which remote jobs require no experience?
There are actually quite a few entry points if you're starting from zero experience. The best bet for most people is to look for roles that focus on soft skills or basic digital literacy. For example, data entry is a classic starter job. It's mostly about accuracy and attention to detail, taking information from one place and putting it into another. It's not exactly thrilling, but it's a great way to get your foot in the door. Then you have virtual assistants. A lot of small business owners or entrepreneurs just need someone to handle the basics, scheduling appointments, responding to simple emails, or organizing a calendar. If you're organized and polite, you're already halfway there. Customer support or chat moderation is another huge area. Many companies hire people to answer basic questions via text or email based on a provided script. As long as you can communicate clearly, and have a bit of patience, you can usually get started without a long resume. There's also social media moderation. If you already spend time on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, or X, you already understand the rules of those spaces. Companies often need people to filter out spam or keep comments friendly, which is something a student can do quite naturally. And of course, there's microtasking. These are tiny jobs like labeling images for an AI or transcribing a short audio clip that you can pick up on platforms like Amazon Mechanical Turk. It's not a full career, but it's an immediate way to start earning. The trick is to frame what you have done, like school projects or volunteering, as experience in your application. Even if you've never had an official job, being the captain of a team or organizing a school event shows leadership and reliability, which remote employers love to see. Do any of those sound like something you'd actually enjoy doing, or do they sound a bit too tedious?
My next question from you is that
I'm
um,
ready.
can students earn money while studying?
That's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? The real secret to earning while studying is finding a balance where the job feeds your bank account without starving your GPA. For most students, the most sustainable way is to lean into asynchronous work. That's just a fancy way of saying work that doesn't require you to be online at a specific time. When you have a project based role like writing articles, creating graphics, or doing data analysis, you can knock out your work at 2 a.m. if that's when you're most productive, and then spend your afternoons in class. Another great strategy is to monetize a skill you're already using for school. If you're a math whiz, online tutoring is a gold mine because you're essentially getting paid to review the material you're already studying. If you're great at organizing your notes or creating study guides, some students even sell their digitized resources on specialized platforms. It turns your academic effort into a passive income stream. Then there's the micro job approach. Instead of a traditional part time job with a set shift, students can use freelance marketplaces. This allows them to take on a lot of work during winter or summer breaks and scale way back during finals week so they don't burn out. It's all about treating your time like a budget. You allocate a few hours a day to earning, but you keep the emergency fund of time open for those unexpected huge assignments. Of course, the biggest challenge is the mental switch, going from student mode, where you're absorbing information, to worker mode, where you're delivering a result, can be draining. The students who succeed are usually the ones who set very strict boundaries, like deciding that Saturdays are for work and Sundays are for total relaxation. Do you think it's harder for students to find the right job or to actually manage the time once they have one?
Yep. So my next question from you is that what is freelancing?
At its simplest, freelancing is basically being your own boss. Instead of being hired as a permanent employee for one single company with a steady paycheck and a set schedule, a freelancer is an independent contractor. They sell their skills to multiple different clients at once, usually on a per project or per hour basis. Think of it like being a hired gun for a specific task. For example, a company might not need a full time graphic designer on their payroll, but they do need a logo designed and 3 brochures created. Instead of hiring a full time staffer, they hire a freelance designer to come in, do those specific tasks, get paid for that work, and then move on to the next client. For students, this is often the most attractive way to work because you have total control. You get to decide which projects you take, how much you charge for your time, and exactly when you do the work. If you have a huge exam coming up, you can just stop taking new clients for 2 weeks and nobody is going to fire you because you aren't a traditional employee. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's a trade off. Since you're the boss, you're also the accountant, the secretary, and the salesperson. You have to find your own clients, chase down payments if someone is late paying you, and handle your own taxes. There's no guaranteed salary at the end of the month, so some months you might be swimming in work, and other months it might be a bit quiet. It's essentially a trade of security for freedom. You lose the safety net of a steady corporate job, but you gain the ability to build a diverse portfolio of work across different industries, which looks incredible on a resume. Does the idea of managing your own clients sound exciting to you? Or does it sound a bit stressful?
So my next question from you is that what is virtual assistance?
That's a bit of a pivot from remote work, but I love it. In a general sense, a ritual is a sequence of activities involving gestures, words, and objects performed in a sequestered place and according to a set sequence. But usually, when we talk about rituals today, we're talking about one of two things. First, there are the formal, cultural, or religious rituals like a wedding ceremony or holiday tradition. These are designed to mark a transition, honor a belief, or bring a community together through a shared symbolic action. Then there are personal rituals, which are more like habits, but with more intention behind them. For example, if you have a specific way you make your coffee every morning while thinking about your goals for the day, that's a ritual. Unlike a habit, which you do almost unconsciously, a ritual is something you do mindfully to create a specific feeling like peace, focus, or readiness. It's basically a way of telling your brain, okay, we are switching modes now. Since you've mentioned practicing micro habits before, I'm curious, do you have any morning or evening rituals that help you get in the zone for your studies?
So my next question from you is that what are the easiest online jobs for beginners?
If you're looking for the path of least resistance, the best jobs are the ones that rely on things you already do every day. Social media management is a huge one. Most beginners are already fluent in how TikTok, Instagram, and X work, so helping a small business owner schedule posts or reply to comments is often very intuitive. It's basically getting paid to use an app you're already on. Then there's online transcription. This is where you listen to audio files and type out what you hear. It doesn't require a specialized degree, just a good ear and decent typing speed. It can be a bit tedious, but it's very straightforward and you can often pick up tasks whenever you have a spare hour. Virtual assisting is another great entry point. This is more of a generalist role where you help someone stay organized. You might be booking flights, managing an inbox, or doing basic research on a topic. If you're the kind of person who loves a good to do list and stays on top of your calendar, you're already qualified. User testing is also surprisingly easy. Companies will pay you to visit their website or use their app and record your screen while you talk through your experience. They just want to know if their site is confusing or if a button is hard to find. You don't need to be a tech expert. In fact, they often prefer average users because that's who their customers are. And finally, there's basic data entry. It's the digital version of filing papers, taking information from a PDF and putting it into a spreadsheet. It's repetitive, but it's low stress and requires almost no prior training. Out of those, does the idea of being a digital organizer appeal to you? Or would you rather do something more creative like social media?
So my next question from you is that can students become video editors?
Absolutely. And honestly, this is one of the best paths a student can take right now. Since so much of the world has moved to short form video, think TikToks, Reels, and YouTube Shorts, the demand for people who can take raw footage and make it snappy and engaging is through the roof. The best part is that you don't need a fancy film degree to start. You just need a decent computer and a willingness to experiment with the software. Many students start by learning free or affordable tools like CapCut or DaVinci Resolve. They might start by editing their own clips or offering to help a friend with their content for free just to build a portfolio. Once you have a few before and after examples that show you can keep a viewer's attention, You can start charging for your services. It's a perfect student job because it's entirely project based. You can take on a couple of videos during a slow school week and then completely clear your plate when finals hit. Plus, it's a skill that transfers into almost every industry, whether it's marketing, education, or entertainment. Everyone needs video content these days. Do you already have an interest in editing, or are you thinking about it as a way to start earning?
Nah, I was just asking because I already know how to edit and I also have a YouTube channel.
Oh, well, look at you. You're already ahead of the game then, since you've already got the technical side down and you're managing your own channel. You're not just a beginner, you've actually got a portfolio. That's a huge advantage because you can show potential clients exactly what you're capable of instead of just telling them. I'm curious, what kind of content do you make on your channel?
Never mind. So my next question from you is that can what is the virtual so Maya, can you tell me that what is the virtual assistant?
At its simplest, a virtual assistant is software that uses voice recognition and artificial intelligence to help you handle tasks, find information, and manage your life without you having to do all the heavy lifting yourself. It's like having a digital concierge that lives in your phone or speakers. They've evolved from basic tools that could just set a timer or check the weather into sophisticated systems that can understand context, learn your preferences, and even predict what you might need. For example, some can coordinate your entire calendar, curate playlists based on your mood, or control every light and lock in your house. The real magic is in the natural language processing, which is the tech that lets them understand how humans actually talk, complete with all our quirks and indirect ways of asking things rather than requiring us to speak in rigid computer code. It's all about removing the friction between a human thought and a digital action.
So my next question from you is that can students earn from online survey?
Yes, students absolutely can earn money from online surveys. But the most important thing to understand is that it's more of a pocket money strategy than a full time income stream. Most survey sites pay in small amounts per survey or through points that you eventually trade for gift cards or PayPal cash. For a student, the beauty of it is the flexibility. You can knock out a few surveys during a boring commute or between classes without needing a formal schedule. However, the challenge is that you won't qualify for every survey. Companies are usually looking for a very specific demographic, like homeowners who buy organic dog food. So you might spend 10 minutes answering screener questions only to be told you aren't a match for that particular study. To actually make it worth your time, it's best to use a few highly rated, legitimate platforms rather than one, and to be honest in your profile so you get matched with the right opportunities. It's a great way to pick up an extra 20 or $50 a month, but it won't replace a part time job. Do you have a specific platform you're looking into, or are you just starting the search?
So my next question from you is that can students become translators?
They definitely can. Translating is one of those unique skills where you can actually start leveraging what you know while you're still in school. If you're fluent in 2 or more languages, you already have the raw material, but becoming a professional translator is really about the art of transferring meaning, not just swapping words. For a student, the best way to start is usually through freelance platforms or by looking for community translation roles, things like helping nonprofits or translating documents for local organizations. It's a great way to build a portfolio and see which types of translation you actually enjoy. Some people love the technical precision of legal or medical translation, while others prefer the creativity of localization, which is where you adapt a movie, a game, or an ad so it feels natural to a different culture. One thing to keep in mind is that the industry is changing fast with AI. While tools can handle the basic structure, they often miss the nuance, the sarcasm, or the cultural subtext, which is exactly where a human translator provides the most value. To really stand out, students who specialize in a specific niche like tech or fashion usually find it much easier to land higher paying gigs. Do you speak a few languages yourself, or are you exploring this for a project? You got it. I'll make sure to really expand on these. I'll
So
keep the
my next
detail
question,
high in there.
wait. So my next question from you is that what is the affiliate marketing?
Affiliate marketing is essentially a performance based partnership where a business pays a commission to an external person, the affiliate, for every sale or specific action they drive through their own marketing efforts. Think of it as being a digital matchmaker. You don't actually create a product, hold any inventory, or deal with customer service. Instead, you find a product you genuinely like and believe in, and you get unique tracking link from the company. When someone clicks that link and makes a purchase, the company knows you sent them there and you get a slice of the profit. For someone starting out like a student or a content creator, it's appealing because the barrier to entry is incredibly low. You don't need a huge amount of capital to start a business. You just need a way to reach people, whether that's through a blog, a YouTube channel, or even just a really engaged following on social media. The real work isn't in the selling part, but in the trust part. The most successful affiliate marketers aren't the ones who push every product under the sun, but the ones who provide honest reviews and real value. If you recommend a tool that actually solves a problem for your audience, they're happy to use your link because you've already done the research for them. There are a few different ways this works. Some programs pay a flat fee per lead, some pay a percentage of the sale, and some even offer recurring commissions where you get a monthly payment for as long as that customer stays subscribed to a service. It's a massive industry now with everything from giant marketplaces like Amazon Associates to specialized software companies offering huge payouts for high ticket items. Of course, it's not exactly easy money. It takes a lot of time to build an audience that trusts your opinion enough to take your recommendations. You also have to be transparent about it. Most regions have laws requiring you to disclose that you're earning a commission, which actually helps build trust because it shows you're being honest with your community. Does that make sense? Or do you want to know more about how someone actually gets started with it?
So my next question from you is that what equipment is needed for remote jobs?
The equipment you need really depends on the role, but there's a core set of essentials that almost every remote worker needs to stay productive and sane. First and foremost is the hardware. A reliable modern laptop or desktop is the heart of the operation. Depending on the job, you might need a high powered machine for things like video editing or coding, or just a steady Chromebook for administrative work. But where people often make a mistake is sticking with just one screen. A second monitor is a total game changer. It allows you to have your meeting or research on one side and your actual work on the other, which drastically cuts down on the mental fatigue of constantly switching tabs. Then you have the communication kit. Since you aren't in a room with your coworkers, your audio and video quality become your professional presence. A decent HD webcam and a noise canceling headset are non negotiable. Built in laptop mics often pick up every background noise, like a barking dog or a humming refrigerator, which can be distracting during a big presentation. A dedicated headset ensures you're heard clearly and that you can focus on the conversation without outside interruptions. Next is the infrastructure. High speed, stable internet is the lifeline of remote. Stopping right there. I'm on
Okay,
pause.
so my
Just let me
last
know.
question from you is what is so give a short answer of this. So, what is the final message of for students who want to work remotely?
The biggest piece of advice for students is this: focus on building a portfolio of actual results rather than just a list of degrees. In the remote world, showing what you can actually do through a project, a blog, or freelance work is the fastest way to prove you're reliable and capable, regardless of your age or where you're sitting.
Okay, so viewers, this was my talk with Maya on the topic of what are the best remote jobs for students. So hope you enjoyed it. So let's meet another talk with Maya like this. So till then, take care. Allah Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.